Well, our adventure begins at 5:45 in the morning, Monday. What is this? November 8th. And that's my objective. Objective number one. Get through this freaking gate and get to my truck. And then use this magic key and get my passport. And why I'm here so early is because the border is 100 miles away, 160 kilometers. And I was here Sunday, just Saturday. I was here Saturday just to see if somebody might show up. And it's a code lock. It's a code lock. I don't know why. I emailed the guy, like he was actually responding to my emails. You know, I said, hey, in case you check your messages on the weekend, I said, do you know if somebody's gonna be there? And he answered actually on Saturday, like the guy from the shop. He answered a couple of hours later. He says, well, there should be a guy working there, but he says, I'm not sure what time he's coming, and maybe he already left. Maybe he was there like first thing in the morning, and I got his email probably around 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I just drove over here. It's only 15 kilometers, 9 miles from Cambridge. I drove here on Saturday, and it's locked, and I see the padlock is one of those, you know, where you turn those little dials and you can open it. Because I was thinking, how do all these people, I'm pretty sure not all of these guys are, you know, here for repair, because I see them here all the time, like the trucks over there, especially, you know, closer here, like all these trailers. So I'm pretty sure these guys are renting space. And so I was thinking, wait a second, so if they're renting space to somebody, how do they get in and out after hours, right? Because trucking, it's 24/7 thing. And that's how you have a code padlock, and let's say even if they change them, they just email everybody, say, hey, you know, starting December 1st, the code is this, don't share it with anybody. And I asked the guy, I said, hey, I see it's a, you know, code padlock, can you tell me the combination? I promise I'm not gonna steal any of the garbage bins over there. I'm just gonna open, I need to get to my truck. And they have this barbed wire everywhere. This is like concentration camp, Stalin era, you know, 1957. And on the road, I was even looking at this. Facing the road, it's the same thing. It's like this inclined. No, here it's inclined. It's kind of like in a prison, you know. So it's hard to climb over. It's not just the barbed wire at the top, like see here it's straight, but over there it's all like this. So you cannot climb over it unless you have a ladder, right? I even had that crazy thought, but I'm thinking, man, if I try climbing, I'm sure somebody will call cops, you know. I'm trying to get to my truck, right? But it's private property, so what is? And yeah, so they have the same barbed wire from the road, but then for some reason there's a corner like between the road and this lot. It looks like it's, I don't know, either municipal property but there's about, I don't know, 1/4 of an acre of land between the road. And so the fence at the road is barbed wire, but I looked over there, the fence between that unoccupied land and this shop is just straight fence, no barbed wire. So I was mulling on some ideas, but I decided to discard those because I'm a law-abiding citizen. So I figured, okay, they're not responding to my emails, but for sure Monday it's a working day, right? And I know these guys, even though they say it's open at a certain hour, but you know, I know the mechanics show up real early, right? Because they have to warm up something there, they have to start the huge generator in the basement, you know, they have to let go of the prisoners they collected during the last week, you know, like people that didn't want to pay the bill. So all kinds of nice things, you know. And so you see, like here usually this one is locked, because here there's another yard. It looks like these guys are moving cars, and it was open, so I was right. All right, we see a car is coming. Okay, which way is he turning? If he's turning this way, do I have my mask? Yeah, I'm just gonna go right in. Oh, the guy's just pulling right beside me. Where is he going? Oh, there's a gate in there. I did not see that one. Man, it's kind of like a gated community, you know? Well, 5:45. I think somebody should show up around 6 or closer to 7. And so the guy at the clinic where I took the test, he said your results will be available online after 8. Right? And I'm sitting in my hotel, I'm thinking, man, what if, you know, I do have COVID? Like I don't feel anything, right? But there's you deal with a lot of people when you're a trucker, right? Especially in US, most of them are not vaccinated, you know. They don't believe in vaccination. But of course, after 8 o'clock, like the guy said, I log in, I create an account. Like the clinic has its own portal, and you have to register an account. And then when they took your test, they give you a piece of paper with this verification code, kind of like a password. And so it's like unique code for each you know, patient. But it's not my clinic. I just went there because I Googled it, and that was the closest one that administers these tests. And some guys were leaving comments saying that, oh yeah, they should be free, you know. Well, you guys are not in the know about the tricky situation with Canada, because everybody's you know, busting their chops for this. But Canada, they don't require the basic cheap test, which, yeah, that one is available for free in many places. But they require molecular test, which in the States can cost anywhere between $200 and $300 US. So it's basically it's the same swab. I think they do that rapid test the same way, right? But my concern is that I have to pre-plan, and I have to return. You know, how do I return to Canada? Because it seems kind of funny, right? I'm just going across the border. But you cannot just, hey guys, I'm just going across the border. So a US guy say, oh, no big deal, go. And then on the way to Canada, he says, hey, I just went to West Seneca, New York, just across the border, pick up an envelope with some credentials. Oh, it's okay, go. No, it doesn't work like that, because these are two countries, right? It's kind of like the same way you try to cross the border, I don't know, between let's say West Germany and East Germany, when they were two separate countries. No, I'm kidding. It's not that bad, but still, it's a procedure, right? So you gotta know what you're doing. So I'm all you have to think things through. And so I read stories about this, that yeah, you have to be careful, because if not, you can get a big fine. Like one guy, sorry about that. Yeah, one guy was there was a story in newspaper. A guy's an essential worker, kind of like my situation, but on a day off, he decides to drive his car across the Ambassador Bridge, because he lives in Windsor, Ontario, but he works in Detroit as an essential worker. I don't know, nurse, doctor, or something, but like legitimate essential worker. So there's no problems for him crossing daily, and he crosses daily, sorry. you know, in the morning he goes to work over the bridge. He goes west. In the evening he comes back, right? But then his grandmother decided to come visit, and she's American, and maybe she was Canadian, but I don't know. But for some reason, they chose Detroit Airport as the arrival airport, and so he, on the day off, he just drove over in his car to the airport, picked her up. But I mean, and nobody said anything. Like, wait a second, where are you going? I'm going to the airport. Sir, essential traffic only. But for some reason, I guess they were so used to this guy crossing every day. So, and so he went, picked up his grandmother. They allowed him back into Canada. No big deal, because again, they probably know he's been doing this for the past, probably, I don't know, 5-6 months or something. But problems arose when he tried to go back across to take her, you know, after her visit was over. He went back across to try to drop her off at the airport. And he got a fine, some crazy amount, like $4,500 Canadian. Because he disobeyed the rules, and he was not going to work, and he was doing, you know, a private thing. And so in Canada, you need this molecular test taken within the past 72 hours to be able to return to Canada. Whereas US does not require that, right? For US, I stored my vaccination results on my phone with a QR code, so they can scan it, so I know how to quickly get to it. That's all you need. You need proof of vaccination. Like, if you're not vaccinated, you cannot cross into US. It's as simple as that. So whether you like being vaccinated or not, but also a lot of places here in Canada, well, pretty much all restaurants, you need to show proof of vaccination. So if you don't believe in vaccines, you stay home, and, you know, and you eat your burger at home on the sofa. It's just what it is, right? You have to be vaccinated to sit down at a restaurant. Even Starbucks, you know, like coffee shop, something like that. Once in a while, they'll start going around. Sir, please show us proof of vaccination. If you don't have it, they'll kick you out. It's the law. And it was the same in Alberta. So now it's in Ontario. So I don't know. I don't see what the big deal is. I got vaccinated, so I have all the results, right? And so so going to US is relatively easy, of course, as long as you have, you know, all your ducks in a row and you can explain in English where you're going. Because actually it's funny, but it is a fact that if you cannot talk to the officer in English at the border, they can deny entry. It happened, there was a story in the newspaper. It happened once to a guy from Quebec, because he didn't speak any English, or maybe he just refused to speak English, you know, because, hey, you gotta know French, because we are at the border, let's say New York and Quebec, and they turned him back. And so if you speak English, you have your passport, right? Everything checks out, and you have a legitimate reason. You have a legitimate reason for entry to Canada. Oh, I think we have a winner here. Okay, I'm also gonna move my laundry here. And this big envelope, that's my oh, I see they removed the jack, as I ask him, and the guy says, just be careful. He says, I'm not gonna put back the chains. Why is this over here? Oh, they had to do something there. Oh, I see, I understand. Like this was here, and that's all I needed. Son of a gun. Okay, and the last thing I want to move is want to make sure that, yeah, I gotta move this. This might some supplies here that I keep in the truck, because also another thing that you have to be careful about when you go into US is you gotta be ready for your truck to be searched. I mean, for your car to be searched, and you don't have any unwanted items in there, like food, you know, or like once I was going in, and I had a bunch of my business cards in the car, right? I'm in the car and I'm like, hey guys, I'm a trucker, I'm just, you know, going to Port Huron here for a short visit. And of course they don't care about that, you know, that you're a trucker, that you cross the border like 20 times a week, you know, because hey, have you ever crossed here in your car? And I think that was my, like, a new car I had, I forgot, like a Chevy Cobalt, and this was the first try, the first time I was crossing, and I said, no sir. So this guy almost turned me back because I said, yeah, I'm gonna stay at the hotel, and they didn't like it that I couldn't give him like an address. I said, hey, I'm just gonna do some shopping. There's a big shopping plaza right up the road there from the border, and there's a couple of hotels. Well, when are you gonna be back? Couple of days. They don't like that, you know. You gotta have definite plans. And so this guy, well, I'm kind of like flirting with the idea of turning you back, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like almost crying. I said, so I just want to enjoy my new car. I said, I don't drive it, you know, often, and I thought I would just, you know, drive across the border. And basically they don't like it, you know. And so the guy searched my car, and then he found my business cards, and he's like, okay, what is this? So you said you're a trucker, right? So I think you're going to US to drum up some business. That was his words, I swear to God. And I said, sir, I don't even have my authority. Like, what are you talking about? You know, like, what do you mean drum up some business? I said, yeah, I'm a trucker, but I work for a guy. I cannot book loads, you know, myself. Like, it doesn't work like that, right? But the guy found business cards, and actually I still have them. I have business cards in my, okay, this is step number 3. So we got the passport. I have proof of vaccination for entry to US. So proof of vaccination plus this, and I have my receipt from the universal enrollment with the address, and that's my reason for going. Like, where you going? You see, this time I can show them the specific address, like no BS. This is where I'm going. This is the receipt. I did it in June, and since you had the border closed, only now I can go there. So that's all fine and dandy for entering US, right? But now for return to Canada, I was explaining in the previous video, you have to have your test results. I have it on my phone, and no matter how hard I tried, I wasn't able to import the test results into the health app. Because for that to happen, they have to, the health app on the iPhone has to recognize that a medical provider, because that's how they find it, right? And I'm able to log in. You know, I opened that test result with the QR code on my computer, just what I did with the vaccination, and I opened the camera on the phone and I scanned the QR code, and right away there's a link there and it says, you know, Alpha Labs or something like that, like that's where I took the test. And it allows me to download the result, but there's nothing I can do, you know, importing does not work. And so I just saved it as an email and I marked it with a flag, and so that's my big plan. I'm gonna show them you know, this is in an email, because I can, oh, and I have it on my computer. So hey, if you want a bigger copy, I have it on my computer, or I can email it to you, right? But also what they want, the last thing that I have to do is, and that's another reason why you need a passport, is you have to do this within they don't say 3 days, 2 days before, but they say within 72 hours before you return to Canada. You have to do this ArriveCan thing, right? And so now I started it on I downloaded this free app on Friday, but I couldn't continue. I had to you know, stop in the middle because they were asking me for my passport number and I did not have that. So now I have the passport number, I can do this. And basically, like I was saying in the previous video, so it's kind of like a pre-arrival, you know, PAPs or PARs for trucks, right? You just tell them, you know, what port you're crossing at back into Canada, what time they should expect, you know, to roll out the carpet and bring the girls and the orchestra, all that kind of stuff, you know. Man, that was a scary procedure, guys, I can tell you. Like, I'm talking about the the ArriveCan app, because I go through the screens. I'm able to upload my test results, like, because it's saved as a file on my phone. Okay, okay. It's saved as a file on my phone. And then when I'm done,
in 300 meters, turn left onto Brock Road, south, Wellington 46.
When I'm done with that, so I uploaded my test results.
Turn left onto Brock Road, south, Wellington 46.
And before that, they asked me for my vaccines. So I had to look up at my computer, on my other phone, because you're doing this on this phone, like the dates. What day did you receive your first vaccine? Yes. When? Where? Okay. What country? Did you receive your second vaccine? When? Where? What country?
Continue for 27 kilometers.
So from here, it's 133 kilometers. Or as we say, 133 clicks. Or roughly 80 miles. And so I did all that. I entered my vaccination thing, and then I entered. They say, okay, do you have a proof of test? Okay. I did the test, uploaded it, and then you keep clicking on that arrow, next. It's like a lot of pages in there, and then all of a sudden it says one last thing. If you are, all travelers to Canada must fill this out. If you're told to quarantine, do you have accommodations where you can quarantine? And then they ask you a bunch of questions about these accommodations, like are there some old folks in there? Like, will you be in contact with somebody who might have been sick? Man. And I'm thinking, wait a second, if they tell me to quarantine, that really screws up my plans, because I'm an essential worker, but they don't give a rat's ass about that, because now I'm not an essential worker, right? I'm just traveling in my car, but I'm supposed to load Thursday, right? And if I don't follow that, let's say, oh, you need to quarantine. And then I started searching on Google before I finished that. I started searching on Google, and I see there's a bunch of searches. You know how you know where people search? Because it's as soon as you start entering the words, you see a bunch of other, you know, searches like that. And because it's a stupid, they should tell you on that app that if you're vaccinated and if you have a test, you're exempt from the quarantine. But they said everybody should fill this out in case they don't accept your, you know, let's say you have something invalid, you know, like let's say they want you to have a molecular test, but instead, oh, look at this, so beautiful. But instead of a molecular test, let's say you did a rapid test, right? Let's say you made a mistake. And so everybody has to fill that out, this portion about quarantine, where you plan to quarantine in case they don't recognize your tests, or, you know, or something. Because they can tell you, right? They will look at your kind of like evidence that you are vaccinated and you have negative test results. If they don't like them, and the last page is address, and I'm thinking, man, okay, what do I use there? So I put the address of the hotel where I would stay if they tell me to quarantine. Like, what do you do, you know? So it's a bit scary, and everybody is searching in Google, do I need to quarantine if I'm fully vaccinated? And that's where I kind of like breathe a sign of relief, because it says no. If you are going back to Canada, if you're vaccinated and you have a negative test, you're exempt. But I mean, it's dangerous, you know. Like for me as a trucker with one employee, and I'm the boss, I'm the driver, you know, stuff like that, they can ground you just because you decide to go in your car that you love driving. But honestly, for me, I actually call that, man, what are we doing here? Okay, 62, speed limit 60. All right. Sometimes there's cops sitting there and there's a little turnoff, but I mean, and now I understand, you know, like today I was driving in slow traffic in the morning, for like 5 o'clock in the morning. I got stuck behind some trucks, and when you're in a fast car, you know, and you're stuck behind trucks, you start to understand the frustration that people feel around big trucks, and that's why they cut you off, you know. And because oh man, they always cut me off, they don't give me no respect. It's because I'm very slow, you know. In the truck, you guys know, right? If you drive a car around a truck, it's really annoying. You see, like this guy, okay, finally he takes the right lane, because here we have two lanes and the speed limit is 80 clicks an hour. My pressure looks good. Tire pressure. I'm good for 280 clicks with gas. Oh, and one thing I did cool on the weekend, you know, on this charger you can rearrange your digital gauges, and by default top left corner shows you know, distance to empty. Center at the top shows nothing. It just says you know, menu, the name of a menu, let's say speedometer, and top right was I think it was temperature. And I look at what's available, and you know, they give you the, let's, when you go into the menu and you can change the, you know, menu setup, and they give you so many choices what you can put in: top left, center, top right. And so I found instant fuel economy, because you know, sometimes it's interesting. I don't want to look at it every time, but for example, now I'm driving just over 90 kilometers an hour. It shows 5 liters per 100 kilometers. That's like 35 miles to a gallon in US. You know, it's excellent. But as when I'm picking up speed, it shows 35 liters per 100 kilometers, which is, I don't know, 2 miles a gallon. And so I did that. So now top left corner on my dash, I have instant fuel economy, which is, you know, handy, and it's interesting. In the center, I have the temperature, outside temperature. And top right, I moved the distance to empty, to top right. And then of course I have temperature over there, but it's very small number, and I want to see it here. Like in the morning, I get in the car, I want to see, you know, how cold it is. And so yeah. So with this big engine, you know, if you're going somewhere far, like for example now, right? So it's 123 clicks now. Oh, and that's not my destination. I put in duty free, because usually that's what I do. Because if I put in the place where I'm going, I know the stupid thing will try to route me through Niagara Falls, and I don't want to go through Niagara Falls. Like, it's busy there, lots of traffic, because there's lots of shopping areas, you know, not Niagara Falls, New York, because you can go there on, what is this, Highway 402? Yeah, it's 402 in Canada, and then you on I-190 in US. But I never liked that, even though you can even go with the truck. It's a commercial crossing. I never liked this one. Too much traffic, there's toll booths there, narrow bridges. And I'm so used to, whenever I go this way, you know, going west, I cross in Sarnia on the Canadian side, or Port Huron, right, on the American side. And here I always cross Fort Erie to Buffalo. And there's there's freeways on both sides. Like here it's QEW on the Canadian side, Queen Elizabeth Way, and then as soon as you cross, it's I-90. And the place where I'm going, I think it's like 10-15 miles from the border. It's southeast of Buffalo. And because we changed clocks yesterday, no, Sunday, yeah, Sunday, actually on the night between Saturday and Sunday, it gets light much earlier. Well, it feels like it, because before it was like 8 o'clock, you know. I would check the sunrise time. Oh, check this out, a heavy hauler, 4-axle trailer, no, 3-axle with a flip. And so before, I would check the sunrise somewhere around this area. It would be like 8 o'clock, 7:55. Now it's 6:39, because I had to change the clock yesterday, of course, in a car. Oh, and I'll have to do this in the truck, because it's not a cell phone, right? They don't update automatically. And so now it's pretty much 6:30. It's already, you can see that it's about to get light. And I can get some gas maybe, but I should be okay. Also, I think I'll gas up in the States, because it's way cheaper there. probably should be. Even like $4 a gallon, it's still cheaper than $4 US. It's still cheaper than here. Because here it's $1.44 Canadian per liter, which is like $5 per gallon. But yeah, if you divide by 1.25, that's US. So it's still a bit cheaper in the States. I made it to the bottom of Highway 6 and I'm entering 403. You see, the sky is already blue. So taking 403 east as if I'm going to Toronto.
In 600 meters, merge onto Ontario 403 East.
This is a really dangerous junction over here. Imagine
Continue on Ontario 403 East for 6 kilometers.
Imagine doing this with a truck, and then right at the top of a hill there's a sign that says no trucks. So if somebody lets you in into this lane, you have to get out of it. Yeah, over here. So it's 100 kilometers an hour, but this sign says no trucks over 6.5 meters long, which means everything over the pickup truck. Man, what's going on here? Stopping in the left lane. So now we're stuck behind the school bus. But at least we are moving. Actually, this is the lane I need for this, because I know this stretch very well, and this is the only lane that goes to Niagara, and that's what causes problems over here.
In 3 kilometers, take the Queen Elizabeth Way exit toward Niagara.
Because yeah, the left, why the left lane is slow, I know why. It's because there's an entrance to 407. So if somebody is going to the northern part of Toronto, you know, like Richmond Hill, Vaughan, see 407 east, keep left. And so it's the most expensive tollway in North America. But it's also the first fully automated, but it saves a bunch of, you know, nerves and time. So if you take the 407, you bypass all this stuff, and you, let's say you work somewhere in either western suburbs or north suburbs, like 407 just goes around Toronto, you know. It's beautiful. It's expensive, but I think it's worth it. I probably wouldn't use it if I was driving to and from work every day, because honestly it's just crazy. It's like $1 per kilometer or something, depending on the time of day. Well, it's probably cheaper for cars, but for me in the truck it's I use it, but of course when I use it I use like 130 kilometers, because I jump on in Milton, Ontario in the west, and then I bypass the entire Toronto, and I'm going, you know, towards Scarborough east, and that 407 allows me to bypass the 401. And so, but that cost me like $100 Canadian. But in a truck, it's a business expense, right? But in a car, I'm not sure that I would be doing that. Of course, it's cheaper. I don't know, maybe 60 cents, maybe 70 cents. And I'm pretty sure here they often
600 meters, take the Queen Elizabeth Way exit toward Niagara.
over here. I'm pretty sure they have. Yeah, I see that's 407. The ramp towards 407. So now those guys are problem free, because usually 407 doesn't have any traffic jams. But now here,
Take the Queen Elizabeth Way exit, then keep left.
oh, it's already sunrise. Like only this lane goes to Niagara Falls. Like, look at this guy in the blue truck. I guarantee it, he's going left.
Keep left.
Because that lane is for the shopping center. There's a big shopping center here, you see? One lane.
Continue on Queen Elizabeth Way for 63 kilometers.
Only the middle lane. And alright, we changed the school bus for a tanker. The sound of this 5.7 Hemi, man. When you push the gas, it just puts, you know, the smile on your face, man. With the automatic transmission, it's the best car ever. All right, so now this is QEW, Queen Elizabeth Way, right? I'm gonna follow this for 97 clicks or 60 miles, pretty much exactly, to the border. All right, let me just show you the bridge. The Sky Bridge. And the construction here has been going on, I don't know, 3 years, 4 years. And they used to have these steel plates on the road. I've never liked those, because you can cut your tires, you know. All right, let's see what we can see here from the top. Okay, that's too much fog. But we're crossing over a big mass of water. And to my right, that's Hamilton. There's a bunch of steel factories over there. And Toronto is this way. Like on a good day, you can see Toronto, you can see very far that way towards Hamilton. But today it's foggy. Well, we are 63 clicks away from the border, 40 miles. So far so good. Speed limit is 110 clicks an hour. And I'm wondering, when does the traffic jam start? Because I know sometimes on busy weekends, like before the COVID, right, when the borders were open, on holidays, or before the holiday or during holiday, man, there will be like 10 kilometers, you know, worth of vehicles lining up before the border. Behind me is a black Corvette. I see the logo on his hood. And that black car is a Tesla. You know, for the amount of money they pay for these Teslas, like the turn signals are like this big. I guess they don't have any extra power to spend on lights because everything goes towards the engine. And in Ontario they have the plates are green. You know, if you have an electric car, if you can afford an electric car, they'll give you your nice looking unusual plate with everything in green, and it says green vehicle. Six clicks to the border, 15 miles. So far so good. I thought the lineup would start by now. I'm still trailing the Corvette. But that guy, he cannot stay in one lane. He goes in the right lane, middle lane, you know, like what's that big hill from Niagara-on-the-Lake. He did not know that the right lane ends, and he went into the curb lane to try to pass trucks, and then he starts blinking his left signal going left. So I'm guessing the Corvette guy is not exactly local, probably some, but something tells me I know where he's going. Expensive car like that, there must be some kind of a rich guy who decided to challenge the odds and try to cross into US on the first day the border is open. And this construction is still here. Like, this is a bit at night, you know, this is a bit scary going in a truck. Of course, there's so much space here, right? When you see, like when you're in a car, right? Like, look at that guy. He has so much space between his car and the lines. Man, his exhaust is so loud. I can hear it from here. When he pushes on gas. What is that? Is that a Subaru? I think it's a Subaru. Or Toyota, probably Toyota. Man, that's loud. Alright, now I'm behind the Corvette. Let's go. For some reason my automatic lights don't come on. I think I want them on in this mist. So I got tired of good gas economy, so I changed to sport mode, and it's not too bad. You're losing probably like 2 liters per 100 kilometers. For example, now I'm 10 liters. If I turn it off, right away I see my RPM goes down, which means that it shifted into higher gear. So this is better for longer trips. All right, almost there, 20 clicks. Check this out. I made it to the duty-free, which was my destination, and I don't see any lineups. And that's what they were saying. They were saying that this requirement from Canada really screws things up for many travelers. All right, here we go. I know this place as the palm of my hand. I'm always coming out of there with a truck, and normally this thing is, it's like closed, you know, like, and trucks are coming from here. You see open, right lane for trucks, nobody on the bridge. Man. And I have my phone ready. Oh, masks are required. Okay. But on the way back, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be quite an adventure. See, no lineup. Because people are scared of this re-entry to Canada. Otherwise they would be all over the place. All right, so that's, you call this a lineup? Man. The Corvette beat me once again. No, I don't think I can go there. Man, where's he going? He went all around. Oh, wait a second, I don't think I can go there. No. Because, yeah, that's where he went. He went to Nexus. So the right left lanes are Nexus, which is like a fast card. Yeah, I better go here. And here we have, yeah, I see autos. And it's the right two lanes, but I see in front of me there's two RVs. Usually those are not very good to be lined up behind, because they you know, they can have lots of occupants inside, right? And usually they're pulled in for a secondary inspection. Or check this out. My type of a guy on the right there has Tridem lowboy with a Tiger Cat. He has a Tiger Cat. Those are nice machines, except I always have, you know, issues with that attachment, because it often sits at an angle, right? Because otherwise, like, you cannot do like a, you know, the way you fold the bucket on an excavator, because then the top, it's very tall. You're gonna knock out bridges, right? And so you have to do it like this. You have to Basically, instead of doing like this, you have to extend it and put that blade and the attachment on the very end of your trailer, and it's always slides because it's at an angle. So I see what this guy did. That's a good idea. I see he has a skid. He put a skid on the back, you know, where his wheels are, and then he loaded this on the top, and there's a couple of big timbers there. And of course you have to put a bunch of straps and chains on those timbers, otherwise they keep sliding. So that's a really, you know, not an easy load. Like the tracks, you know, the machine itself is okay, it's not too heavy. Well, some of them are, but most of the time when I moved them, they were like 80,000 pounds, like a Cat 336. But one challenge was, for some reason, their tracks have thicker steel than excavators, honest to God. And so when you try to hook your hook, you know, like I always do, on the inside of the track above the drive gear, it doesn't want to go. See, so now truckers are going to be upset. I remember they were talking to one guy, and he says, well, actually I kind of like it. Oh yeah, I heard the guys were talking. We were waiting in the lineup at the CBP in Port Huron, and there was some Canadian truckers talking. One guy says, well, I kind of like it with the COVID because there's no cars. It's so much quicker. Oh, and that's something new. Like where the trucks go, they changed the name. It says, instead of trucks, it says cargo. Cargo. I'm guessing this way it's not confusing to people with pickup trucks, you know, because if you drive a pickup truck, it's also a truck, right? So now it's more clear. Cargo means commercial, which actually can also be a car, believe it or not. Like sometimes there's a caravan of cars, because they're importing them, you know, like sometimes they hire people to oh, check this out, they're all moving that way, but it says Nexus only. I know I cannot go there. Cars, buses, I think there's 2 more lanes in there, because it's hard to see because of this curve. I'm in the first lane, but there's 1 lane is closed, and then behind there's 2 lanes over there. And they were saying that customers was getting ready for this, and they should be staffed at pre-COVID levels, because this is the first time the US border opens to civilian traffic. Yeah, it's not too bad at all. So they had 2 Nexus lanes open. They just closed 1 because there's hardly any traffic, you know. Nexus, like the fast card, you have to buy that expensive card. And I see some TV crews. There was a guy walking, a customs guy accompanying a photographer, you know, and I'm a photographer myself, right? So it's to me interesting. This guy has a harness with 2 cameras. I can see it's Canon, 1 on the left hip, 1 on the right, and so, you know, so I'm guessing one has probably 16 to 35 or 24-70 lens, and the other one has 70 to 200, and this way he doesn't have to switch lenses. And he was taking pictures of the flags and the lanes, you know, it says autos in the lineup, and right in front of me there's a TV crew shooting, and the ladies, you know, like the anchor, you know how they say on TV, they say, oh, now we're switching live to, you know, Janine at the Peace Bridge. And so she's right there, and as the guys are doing, she's talking in front of the camera, and the camera is facing that way. So I think I'll be on TV. So but I'm guessing it's US TV. It's probably Buffalo TV. And actually no, it says it has I don't see the name of the channel. It's on the mic. You know how on the mic they put that like a piece of paper with the name of the channel, but I don't see it. But the guy had a Canadian flag on his camera, like humongous TV camera. That short guy, he was barely. Who are these guys? Some guys are trying to bypass in here. Oh, they're opening that lane. Oh, hold on.
Continue on I-190 south for 1.5 kilometers.
Yeah, I just stopped on the side of the road. There was nowhere to stop, right? They kick you out from the customs plaza because it's too early to go yet to my twig place. They open at 9, and I figured I got up real early today, and I know this area because I cross here all the time. And
100 meters, take exit 1 to 52 on the left for I-90 east toward Buffalo Airport, Albany.
yeah, so I know there's just a couple of clicks north. Like I have to go this way now. See, like I-90 splits. That's Erie. This is Buffalo Airport. And my twig place is this way. But I'm 40 minutes early. So I figured
Continue on I-90 east for 5 kilometers.
I want to go get something to eat and grab a coffee. And there's Starbucks in there. There's a Panera Bread. Just like 5 minutes this way. And my phone did not work. Like what? Because I like using Google Maps on this phone because it has a metal it has a magnet on the back, right? So I can put it like this. I can put it like this on my windshield. But because it's a Canadian phone, like no signal. I'm trying to find where's my Starbucks, where's Panera Bread.
3 kilometers, take exit 52 east for Walden Avenue, Fort Cheektowaga.
No signal on the phone, so I started it on the Verizon phone. Of course, Verizon works. But I cannot attach it to the windshield. So anyway, crossing the border was fast and easy, as they say. Just I probably spent what, like, I don't know, 10-15 minutes in the lineup, which only started, it's not even covering the bridge. So I don't know, it's good because you have to be vaccinated, right? And you have to do the test, the expensive test. Okay, which way are we going? 1.8, so 52E. Okay, yeah, this is there's a plaza here. There's a truck travel center, truck plaza, and right next to it is Panera Bread, and I think Starbucks is on the other side. On this you have to go west, so 52E means you're going east on Walden, and 52 west you're going west. But I like coffee at Panera Bread actually as much as I like Starbucks coffee.
In 800 meters, take exit 52 east for Walden Avenue, Fort Cheektowaga.
And so I'm just gonna go there and grab a quick breakfast. I check that it's open, and it's somewhere here on this side. And this whole area, it's a big shopping area. There's a bunch.
Take exit 52E.
There's a bunch of stops, stores.
In 600 meters, merge onto Walden Avenue.
Yeah, there's Cabela over here. On the other side, there's a movie theater. Like when I get a chance, I stop here at this Jim's Truck Plaza. It's very unfriendly for truckers. Like, you know, signs everywhere, you know, if you go, take your truck, stuff like that. We don't want, basically, we don't want you here. there's Macy's over
Merge
there.
onto Walden Avenue, then turn right onto Duke Road.
Oh, another Tesla. Dual motor. And look at the signals. Like, it's still funny. Like, they give you this tiny baby signal. Okay, where's Panera? I think it's this plaza just